Welcome back to Everything Whiskey. I'm Callum.
I'm Sam.
Today we're hunting with a Bulleit Rye.
Alrighty, so Bulleit Rye today. I've never had the rye ever.
Neither, no.
And we've had the bourbon from them like a bunch of times. That came out way too easily. Normally, like the corks will shrink if you leave them for too long. So I'm worried about this one. The bourbon one, we've got all of the 3 bottles that we bought. They're all like so loose. So do the old kind of like, you know, rehydrating it, because it will seriously just get loose and you'll lose flavour to oxidation. So Bulleit Bourbon is like a mass-produced, very popular brand overseas, as in like coming from America, but also overseas from America. Every other country seems to know about it or sell it in huge quantities. It's MGP, Midwestern Grain Products. Is that it? Yeah. Which is, I know what I'm
close enough.
asking you anyway.
That sounds close enough.
It's a massive, massive distillery. I think it's a group of distilleries, like it's many stills that produce a lot of whiskey for a lot of different brands under lots of different names. So if you've had, you will definitely, if you have ever drank bourbon in your life, you most likely will have had something from MGP. They're huge. So the mash bill for this one is 95% rye. So seriously herbaceous, I guess the word. It's gonna be strong in that green kind of vegetal herbaceousness. It's going to be super dry, a lot of kind of like green tea notes. Probably just taste it before telling you, but that's the general gist of like things that are super high rye. I hope though that it's not like the Manhattan rye, which is apparently like all rye.
Oh, but that just 100%.
Yeah, and that
was like sultana.
That shit is so weird and it just tastes like sultana. So I hope this is like a little bit more traditional style of rye.
It does not smell like that at all.
It smells like rye. Smells like
green grass.
Lots of green grass, fresh mulch. Like I've just been like planting some things out with. What's that? I'm getting dark chocolate, like there's some cocoa, like bitter cocoa in there.
Lots of tree sap.
Yeah, like that's the sappiness. It's like this kind of like sweet / bitter kind of like green.
I want to say like a eucalyptus sap, but it obviously couldn't really be that.
But it's still a note. It's a note we're familiar with because it's like been around us our entire life. So yeah, for us, whatever that note is for other people, for us it's kind of like tree eucalyptus.
You know those eucalyptus drops that you
putting like the essential.
For sore throat.
Yeah.
I'm getting a lot of that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot of greenery, a lot of herbs and stuff, a lot of kind of.
There is some.
I don't know how to describe it. There's like green tea or something, kind of like earthy. And
there is woodiness though.
Yeah, and taste it. Very typical rye. Like it's
a lot better than I thought it would taste.
I thought it was 45%. So I know we mentioned in our last video, or relatively recent video, that Bulleit has upped the proof for their whiskeys. Their bourbon one used to be, the bourbons used to be 40%, now they're 45. Yeah. The rye is 45, but I don't remember if they ever used to be 40 or always 45. I don't know, but
I mean, we never.
That's what I mean. So the bourbon at least has been given a bump up in proof. Rye, I'm not sure, but this one is 45 as well. It's got like no burn from a 45, but it won't be a lot, but it's MGP. They've got so much there that they can push out a decent age without it being like particularly
because
they've got so much going that like they can afford to describe it. Yeah, they can definitely afford to because they've had so much for so long that it's fine.
So it does taste quite.
It's like a nice rounded. I'm getting a serious black tea note on the nose now.
I reckon it's like on the palate I'm getting a lot more licorice or anisey.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and like star anise. And like it's sweeter as well. It's got like more of a creamy sweetness.
Yeah,
it's pretty good. As ryes go, like when we do like ryes now, but they were initially something that really turned us off. Things like high rye bourbons, like Booker's, once we got into bourbons, really helped us kind of cross that, like bridge the gap. But 95% rye, things that are like this, really high in rye, low corn percentage, still like things that we often a little bit, like we find notes or just overall that we're not super partial to certain ones. Definitely the Manhattan Rye for one.
What was the first ever rye? Was that the Wild Turkey?
Wild Turkey, yeah. We tried that before.
I couldn't even drink. I think we left the bottle behind.
I know we did. It was a whole litre of it. We left like
the majority of it. I think I had a glass of it.
Yeah. That was the first time we had Isla as well because we bought the Kalila.
Yeah.
And like it. And the
Classic Laddie?
The Classic Laddie, yeah.
It's expensive first. $100 a bottle.
So stupid to waste all of it as well.
Going back to the nose, I'm getting like almost a cough syrup kind of note.
I'm like struggling to give particular notes. Like I'm getting like just really, really traditional, typical rye notes. It's missing that like corn, that bourbon kind of like caramelized, deep, dark kind of woody notes that I really, really enjoy with ryes. Things like Rittenhouse is one of them. It's missing that. It's like really green. Like this is a very green rye. Obviously, it's 95%.
You have to take in price.
Yeah, that's true.
This is what, 40? No, it was more.
No, it was more. This one, it's definitely higher than bourbon. It's higher than the bourbon. It was like 55,
yeah, 55, 60, yeah. Still pretty cheap.
Which is like a lot more than the bourbon, $20, but it's still Australia-wise, especially rye. That's quite cheap. We don't have like an expansive, selection to go with. So
the rye selection is literally one row at our dens.
And it's a short row, like as in like this length.
Yeah, like one of those.
That's as many as you'll find in like our biggest liquor store in the country. So ryes are not, you don't have a lot to select, but $60 for 45% mass produced as in like, let's say that has a plus because it's consistent, and which means it brings the price down as well because it's mass produced. Something that's easy to come upon like everywhere. Like I'd say Bullet is something that you can find not just at Dan's, but you can find
I think the rye is
everywhere.
a bit harder to find.
I don't think it's hard to find. I think it's
they stock
it a little bit less quantity wise because it's not as popular.
Yeah.
But overall, I reckon this is pretty enjoyable for a 95% rye mash bill. There's not been a lot of them that I've been particularly partial to, but I could easily drink this.
I would almost consider this a bar cup rye, I guess. I reckon I'd always have this on a bar cup.
Yeah, well, definitely good point. For cocktails, for traditional cocktails, if you're gonna go all the way with your Manhattans and stuff like that, those were traditionally designed with rye in mind as the base whiskey to be using in those recipes. So I feel like this one would be a damn good one because it's a rye, but it's like heavily rye. It's 95%, but it's also got 45% ABV, so enough of a kick to stay there flavor-wise. And it's cheap, so you can actually not waste it, but put it towards your mixes without feeling guilty that it's, a $200 bottle or anything like that.
I wasn't thinking that, but I'm glad it worked.
It definitely made sense to me in that way. So
I was just thinking like, it's pretty nice for $60
for me,
especially when
like I'm gonna go with a rye that always has to be on my bar cut for the purpose of drinking neat. It's Rittenhouse because that is not much more expensive. It's bottled in bottom and it's so good. I don't know why, but Rittenhouse is such a favorite of mine. I love it. On the Bullet though, value, taste, all those availability, it ticks all those boxes. So if you're into rye or you're looking to get into rye and you enjoy bourbon already, it may be pretty high in rye for that. You might want to try something that's got a bit of a higher corn percentage in the mash bill before you step into this, but it's pretty mellow. So even if you want to just get the gist of what the hell rye is about, this is probably a pretty easy, safe bet.
Yeah. Especially
if you hate it, like wallet-wise, it's not going to be that much of a kick in the pants. So Bullet, definitely recommend trying it. I enjoyed it. I'd be happy if anyone gave this to me. So yeah. But if you like this episode of Everything Whiskey, let us like and see future episodes from us. Maybe consider hitting that subscribe button. If you do, we'll see you next one. Cheers.